we doing, guys? Welcome to another Mamemeister 10-minute mashup. Today's game is a Vectrex game, which you can probably tell. Now the game is called Yassi, or to give it its full Sunday name, Yet Another Space Invaders. This game was actually programmed, I'm not sure when it was programmed about, I don't know, in fact it was actually as far back as 2003. It was programmed by a chap called Alex Herbert, who is an absolute god when it comes to Vectrex games. I mean, he made probably, in my opinion, the best Vectrex game, which is called Protector. Now this cartridge I've got, actually it's a double cartridge. It comes with, in fact I'll let you see it, here we go. Protector. You've got Protector on one side, and if you flip this round, you've got Yet Another Space Invaders on the other side. Absolutely fantastic cartridge. Now you may see there it says Vec Voice Edition. Now there is a voice adapter for the Vectrex, which I don't have. I'm sure Vectrex Rolly will probably be able to do a better review of this game, because he's probably got the actual Vec Voice add-on. But anyway, enough of my witterings, let's batter on. And it's number one to start. Now what I'm going to do, let's try and hide a wee bit. I'm going to try and zoom in a wee bit to give you, because of the shape of the screen, it's not very easy to get a proper sort of picture. Now I'll turn it up a wee bit. You probably notice you always get the hum from the Vectrex. Apparently there is a version of the Vectrex, a new version I think it is, which doesn't have the kind of buzzing sound, but the buzzing sound is part and parcel of the Vectrex. Now, anybody watching this for the first time who doesn't know what a Vectrex is probably thinking, what is the big deal? It's Space Invaders, so what? What people may not realise is the Vectrex displays graphics using vector beams. So the monitor is like an asteroids monitor. It's not your normal sprite based. So it's actually vector graphics. And the fact that Alex has got a game like Space Invaders looking as authentic as it does, and this is a vector machine, it's vector graphics that are actually made, that these graphics are made from. I'm not really doing particularly well talking here tonight. Yeah, the fact that this is a vector machine and it's a vector display and it looks, to my mind, almost arcade perfect. Space Invaders is just nothing short of phenomenal. I mean, if you didn't know better, you could see this was just an arcade game. This was an actual proper arcade game. The graphics are absolutely spot on with arcade Space Invaders, and like I say, this is a vector monitor. Now another thing you need to bear in mind, this machine, now I keep getting my dates wrong, I think this machine came out about, I don't know, 78, 79. It's an old machine, it's not got very much memory, and the fact that it can display and run a game like Space Invaders is just awesome, absolutely awesome. Now you can use the sort of analog joypad, or you can use buttons as well to move, to give you the proper Space Invaders experience. But yeah, this game shouldn't be running. I mean, it's as simple as that, it should not be running. It's a vector machine, it's a vector monitor. So basically all these little Space Invaders are built up of, I'm guessing, lots and lots of kind of vector graphics. Am I right in thinking that? I'm not technical in the slightest, I just know that it shouldn't be running this. But it just shows you what some of these homebrew guys can actually do. Unfortunately, I don't think Alex Herbert makes games for the Vectrex anymore. Again, I'm not 100% sure, I'm not real up to date with the homebrew scene in the Vectrex. I keep meaning to try and pick myself up one of the Flash Vectrex cartridges, but they seem to be quite difficult to pick up, and they do go for quite a bit of money. Actually, playing this game, I read an interesting anecdote about Space Invaders. The fact, now we're talking about the arcade game here, the fact that, as you probably know, the less invaders you have on the screen, the quicker they go. Now apparently that wasn't intentional, it was because the processor could move them faster when there was less on screen, so it was almost like a byproduct of the sort of the restriction in hardware. It wasn't able to move them as quick the more there were on screen, and the fewer there were, it was able to speed up. Now I actually thought that it was deliberately made faster as there was fewer invaders, but apparently not. It's just because the hardware couldn't physically move them quicker because there was less to do, less kind of processor. Oh! But it plays a mean game of Space Invaders. I'll have to say, I'm not a big fan of Space Invaders. It's one of the few games I find quite boring to play. Don't get me wrong, I'm sure there's some massive fans of Space Invaders, but I'm just not a big fan of it. I was a big fan back in the day, obviously. It's going to get even more difficult when these bad boys move down. I can just imagine how this machine would have sold if this game had been released back in 1979. I mean, it would have just it would have sold by the bucket load, because back then we were used to we were used to playing. The best we got was Atari VCS Space Invaders, which, let's be honest, wasn't the best version. It wasn't great, but this is arcade perfect. So it just proves that the hardware to produce an authentic version was around back in whenever it was, 79 or something. But they just didn't have I suppose they didn't have the knowledge. They didn't have the sort of background into the hardware that they've got now. No idea this is going to get very difficult. Ah, bollocks. Game over. How are we doing for time? One last game I think, guys. Yeah, 2003 this came out. Like I says, it may not. Space Invaders isn't the most exciting game in the world now. You know, I'm not even looking. I'm trying to look around the back of the camera tripod. Yeah, it might not be the most exciting game in the world, but I just think this is such an impressive version. It's probably the most authentic Space Invaders. In fact, if I was doing an arcade perfect my arse featuring Space Invaders, I think it's fair to say that this would be my favourite version. I can't think of a version that's more authentic than this. But it just shows you what they can do with the knowledge. Now, I don't know if this cartridge, does it have any extra RAM or something that allows it to do this? I don't know, I'm really not too sure. Ah, that was shite. Come on! Hey! And listen guys, that's 10 minutes. As I say, it's not the most interesting game in the world to actually watch, so if anyone's actually still watching this video at this point, then hats off to you and thank you. So yeah, this is Yassi, or Yet Another Space Invaders, on the Vectrex, and it was written by Alex Herbert. As usual guys, hope you enjoyed watching, and as usual, thanks for watching.